Get ready for some organized chaos.
Woohoo!
I don't know if you've ever heard of a collaborative art project. I don't know if I'm even making that term up. This week, with some of my good friends, I'm going to make an art piece where we each work on it separately and then put it together. The general steps to this are or if you're doing this with somebody else chooses an existing picture or an existing piece of art. If you're worried about not wanting to steal somebody else's art, you can definitely do public domain, although for this it might not matter as much because it's going to be your interpretation and it might end up looking not at all like the original. You take an existing piece of art, you print it off on a normal 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That was way bigger than 8.5 by 11, but you get the idea. And then you cut it into 12 squares. So once it's cut into 12 squares, then each of those squares, they will be the exact same size. You can label them. What I do is use a number and then lettering system. So I know that the first row, for example, would be A1, A2, A3, A4, and then you mix them all up. Next step, you take normal 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, and then you cut them into perfect squares. An easy way to do this is to just pretend like you're starting to make a paper snowflake. So when you make a paper snowflake, you fold it over diagonally, and then there will be an excess little length of rectangle that happens. You cut that off, suddenly you have a perfect square. Then your guests arrive. You can choose whether or not you show them what the actual piece of art is supposed to look like or not. You hand your guests one of these little small squares that has a piece of art, and they are trying to replicate what is on that small square onto their larger square of paper. It can be mixed media where some people are using paint or pastels or crayons or colored pencils and working to make what exactly is on their square. If they don't know what the actual piece, they'll have no context what they're supposed to be drawing and how it's supposed to connect to something else, which could cause something really funny to happen. So you work through until all those 12 squares have been taken by other people. When everybody has created their individual squares and all of the squares are taken up, you turn them back over, look to see where they're supposed to be in the lineup, put them together, and then see what chaos ensues. So I've invited a group of friends over this week, and we're gonna try this out and see if it actually looks good. If it looks good enough, there's a blank spot in my stairwell that I would love to have a beautiful piece of art there. So hopefully they do a really good job. I did this with high schoolers and middle schoolers, and we had a really fun time. Do it with your friends or with another group of people. Have some good food and good conversation while making chaotic art. Let's go!
2 hours later.
I think it's funny. The mustache is kind of funny.
Here is the masterpiece. Princess Bride. Iconic scene from The Princess Bride. Which, surprisingly, so I knew the photo, and they all opted to not see the whole photo and just work off from the little pieces. So we started off by giving everyone edge pieces. These 6 in the center were the second pieces that we gave to everybody. I set up multiple tables, so four of us were sitting at this table here, and then I had a personal table and a folding table that were set up in the living room. That way, if we wanted to spread out and not see what everybody else was doing, we could do that. Definitely do this if you want. It's a really fun time. Wonderful! Success! Tape it up to the wall.